They say it takes a village to raise a child because children need a lot of different people to look out for them. Families can use all the help they can get. After all, no parent is perfect. That's why McCoy leads the Early Intervention and Prevention Initiative. We want to showcase all of the excellent programs in our city that help families learn and grow together. Because when we learn and grow together, we make our village a better place to live. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy this episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities.
Hello, this is Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, a show focused on providing vital resources to youth and families through the Indianapolis community. My name is Mitzi Wilson. I'm the Early Intervention and Prevention Initiatives Director at McCoy, and I welcome our guests. Our show topic today is mentorship. So we have Tiffany Lemons with Girl Scouts of Central Indiana, as well as Sabeko Jawanza from the Youth Advocates Program. So I wanted to provide the opportunity for both of you just to kind of introduce yourselves and tell a little bit about your role with your organization, a little bit about the work that you do. So to start with you, Tiffany.
Okay, like Mitzi said, my name is Tiffany, and I'm with the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana. I'm the Director of Outreach and Outreach and Evaluation. And my role is to really work with the communities that are more difficult to serve in a traditional Girl Scout setting. So we have paid staff that work with work with our girls to make sure that they have a Girl Scout program. So we're in the Indiana Women's Prison, trying to keep the connection between the daughters and the mothers alive and help that to foster some healthy relationships with them. We're in the public housing communities throughout Central Indiana. We have some special foster care troops. We have a few different programs like that. We also do a lot of work within the Hispanic community, and we're going to be doing some work here shortly within the Burmese and Chin population. And that's in addition to the traditional Girl Scout programs that people think of, that are the volunteer mentor-led troops that we have. And that's my primary role with Girl Scouts.
Thank you. Yeah. And Sabeko, if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and the Marion County Youth Advocates Program.
Sure. I'm the director for the Youth Advocate Program here in Marion County. We are an alternative to Department of Corrections for juveniles. So we work with an age group of 13 to 17, and those young people who are about to transition, they've been arrested, they're in juvenile, and they're about to go to DLC, which is out of juvenile, and we try to present a plan that's wraparound services. So we try to provide them with an advocate, look at their family structure, look at their family atmosphere and environment, and see what kind of things we can place around them for success. Success for us is for them not to go back into being locked up. Truthfully, what I try to do, the approach I try to do, is look at passion and look at inspiration in terms of what they like to do. I'm not going to cater a program or a plan around someone based off of their charge. I'm going to program the plan based off of their inspiration and their passion. That's a little bit of what we do. Yeah, we work with the families real hands-on. So we're like a alternative to getting sent to DLC and hopefully being presented with the family structure.
Thank you. And can you share with us just kind of what mentorship looks like in your organizations, maybe through some of the programs that you offer?
Sure. I think the primary way the primary method that mentorship is represented in our organization is really in the volunteer troop setting, where we have about 40,000 girls and we have about 14,000 adults. So when you stop to think about what that looks like, those adults are the primary mentor in that girl's Girl Scout experience. We also, though, do have paid staff that are facilitating that mentor role and being that constant touch point. They're typically in year-long programs. There's multiple touch points throughout a year, so it might be twice a month, it might be 4 times a month, where they lead a 1-hour session working with those girls. And that's the primary way that the role looks like within our organization. And then there are some one-on-one opportunities that happen the older the girls get as they pursue their more prestigious leadership awards that they have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, mentorship is really kind of a guide. You know, it's like someone who can help you out, someone who can give you some experiences of things that you probably haven't experienced, or give you a different perspective on something that you have experienced. I kind of look at the mama duck and how the ducks kind of follow behind and things like that. Essential natural thing of mentorship with someone following behind, but eventually going and spreading their own wings and going out. So especially with our program, mentorship is a little different because it's not a real focused mentorship. Is not a particular subject or anything like that. It's more so like life skills and how to incorporate yourself into life without getting in trouble type of thing, which, you can do. Yeah, some of our youngsters think you can't, but you can definitely do that. So yeah, just really a guide, someone who can help out and kind of fill in some holes that might be confusing to someone going through something for the first or second time.
And Sabeko, you've kind of touched on really kind of how youth mentorship can really be a great tool for, really prevention and, what you're working with intervention.
Oh, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about kind of how do you see your mentor supporting youth and some of those outcomes?
Well, really in prevention, we're dealing with 14 to 17-year-olds. And so we're really trying to make it to the point where when they turn 18, they don't have to go through the same type of system that is made for adults. So in that case, that is kind of a preventive type of measure. But we also look into the family structure. And so if they have little brothers and sisters who are like 7 or 8 years old who look up to them, we use that as a way to get them to stay on the straight and narrow. Like, hey, you have brothers and sisters here that look up to you. Why don't we try to get you to mentor them as we are mentoring you? And that way this cycle can go ahead and kind of get into effect. Plus, these guys, I want, these young men and women, I want them to be able to come back to our program and help those who are going through the program after they've completed it successfully. And so kind of having that domino effect going on. So it's definitely important in terms of someone actually being placed into someone's life to help out with prevention, especially when it comes to those younger kids who, our kids are looking at, our youth are looking at TV, they're looking at YouTube, they're looking at a lot of influences that could impact them negatively if they don't have the proper instruction, the proper guide to help them see kind of how these things are really relative to their lives.
Thank you. And I know, Tiffany, that Girl Scouts also does very similar work and sort of kind of working to instill certain values and principles through mentorship in your programming. Can you talk a little bit more about some of that, the positive behavioral aspects of the mentorship that happens?
Absolutely. I think the Girl Scouts has been around for a long time, but people don't always recognize all of the work that's happening in there. And it's not only the mentorship role that's vital, but it's also the peer-to-peer interaction that the girls get in a group setting. They have a safe network of peers. They have a safe adult, oftentimes outside of their family now, that they can turn to. And many times our girls will say to us that one of the most profound experiences they have is that there's another adult outside their family network or outside of their school network that they can turn to. And so, we see delayed engagement or suspended engagement in risky behaviors. We see girls that are more interested in their academics. We see girls that are more interested in, pursuing STEM careers or pursuing careers that they didn't necessarily think about before they had their experiences with Girl Scouts and their experiences with a mentor. And those are invaluable. You can take a girl to a field trip or you can take her to an opportunity or an interactive opportunity, but the ability to sit down and talk to a trusted adult is something that can't be replicated. And that, to me, is what the mentor experience is, and that's what the outcome is just knowing that they have another adult that they can turn to when they're bombarded with, like you had mentioned, a lot of the different images and things that come at them. We have girls that are struggling with body issues and struggling with what their role is in this world, and that mentor can be the person to help ground that and help them empower them both with both with their dreams, but also with just what they're going through every day. And that's what I see. They're more anecdotal outcomes, but that's definitely what we see.
And so you both alluded to, really there's kind of a lot happening in our communities. And so how is it that a youth or, a family member or caregiver, gets plugged into a youth mentorship program? How do they find out about your organizations?
You want to go ahead?
Sure. Hey, we have a Facebook page. Word of mouth has really helped our organization. I really want individuals who have probably been through similar situations that our young people in our organization have been through. So they've gotten into a little bit of trouble back in the day. Or they're with some people. I didn't get in a lot of trouble back in the day, but I hung with a lot of guys who consistently were getting locked up and were going through these things. And so I have that experience. So I try to look for advocates who fit that model in terms of understanding they've been there before, they've experienced before, so they have some type of idea of what these young people might be going through. And it's people who've probably been through it and have gotten through it. And so it's that light at the end of the tunnel type of thing, especially some of our young people might not see that environment of people going through something and actually finishing and completing and turning their life around. Either that or they're seeing people after they've turned their life around and don't believe that they've been through some of the things that they've been through as well. A lot of times, us as adults, we can really kind of push our agendas of how we feel like society should be on our young people and forget that, hey, we made mistakes to get to the opinions that we have right now. So it's not really saying, okay, go ahead and make your mistakes, but understanding that they will and understanding that they are not different than when we were younger. So I try to focus on people like that. So that's why I try to use more word of mouth than just, hey, come out here and then, I want to talk to someone who knows my mission and knows our mission as YAP, and then they go out and find people who fit that model.
Oh, thank you.
And we have kind of I would say a two-pronged approach from the girl or the community level. They can, check out our website. We work with a lot of our community partners. We work with our schools. We work with our partners to distribute information, whether it's flyers or putting stuff in a newsletter or yard signs or those kind of, come join Girl Scouts, come find out what it's about. But we also then do some work within the community setting where we are canvassing door to door, or where we're at free summer lunch programs, or we're at a lot of different community opportunities for the girls to be able to sample some of the opportunities that we have, and then they can come and they can join from that perspective. So there are a lot of kind of the formal methods that we use, which are the flyering and the website and that content, but then there's a lot of kind of more grassroots canvassing that we employ. Depending on the community and depending on what their needs are, it helps determine how you can access it. But anybody who's interested can absolutely check out our website or check out the flyers that are distributed. We're pretty easy to find that way. But those are the two primary methods.
Thank you. And January is soon approaching, which is National Mentorship Month. So what do you say to someone that's out there that is interested in an opportunity to mentor youth about getting engaged and involved?
It's the hardest job you'll ever love. I mean, I know it's a trite phrase, if you will, but you'll put in the hours, you'll put in the tears, and you'll put in the sweat, but it will be without a doubt the most profound experience you'll ever have. And I can't tell you how many times I have somebody come up to me in the community and say, oh, I was a Girl Scout when. And it's maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago when they were a Girl Scout, and they're still talking about their troop leader, and they're still talking about the volunteer impact, and they're still talking about what they did. And there's not many people that get that opportunity to have that kind of profound impact on a child's life. So I say, if you're even remotely thinking about it, just do it, because our girls, our youth, they need people who care. There aren't enough people who care. Or there are enough people, but they just need a different platform. And so I would say, if you're even remotely thinking about doing it, find the agency, shop around, look for what mission most matches your passion, and pursue that, because our kids, our youth, they need it. They need you, and you will you'll love it. Even if you hate it, you will love it. So that would be what I would say.
Thank you.
Andre 3000 of the group Outkast said something. I might be messing this up totally, but it was like, if you want to save the world, start with your corner. Something like that. So if you're interested in being a mentor, look at your family first. Look at your little cousins, look at your brothers and sisters, aunties, uncles even, and see kind of what type of things you can help out with that. I love the fact that our program is called the Youth Advocate Program. Using that word advocate is a little bit of difference in terms of mentality. Understand that we don't have capes. We're not Batman or Superman, We're just here as guides. We're just here to make sure, but you have to be as entwined into these people's lives as you are with yourself. A lot of times when I look at a lot of the young people that I work with, when we have to work with the families, that's one of the biggest obstacles sometimes, is working with the families. And so stick it in there, because this might not be your family when you're coming to mentor and advocate. So you have to make sure that you're on point in terms of having your physical and your mental shield up to be able to come into someone else's life and be an impact, something that's a positive impact with them. Especially like if they have other positive things around them, great. But if they don't, then that just makes it that much harder, and you have to work harder for that. and sometimes you don't get paid for that. You know, it sucks out of your life, but the reward is at the end. You know, you make sure that this young person is having a better chance at life with another experience, with another mentality, something like that, and that's your reward, making sure that you impact someone else and hopefully they pass it along.
And I guess in some of the work that you do and working with mentors and seeing the impact that it has on youth in the community, what are some of those key traits that you see that really make a mentor successful?
To me, it's just that they have to care. We can train and coach and support all of the rest of the kind of core characteristics or skills that someone needs, but it's that they have to care and they have to be willing. And I think there are days that you're drained, and there are days that you just can't do anymore, and you have to kind of dig deep and recognize that it's not always about you. And so I think that you just have to care and you have to be willing, and we'll figure out the rest. Those are the two things I would say.
Yeah, caring, I will echo that with passion, persistent. You can't stop, won't stop. You have to keep on going. And resourceful. I mean, things change, from last year to this year, things change. So the things that we have to prepare our young people for when we're mentoring change as well. So you have to be resourceful and understand, your assets around you, understand your assets in your community, and show the young people that they're assets as well. Really kind of build them up. If you don't have that motivational coach type of mentality, with it as well, it might be corny or whatever, but, you really have to build up these young people. No matter where they're at in life, everyone needs a little bit more encouragement.
And so what are some of the success stories that have come out of the work that you've done?
There are a lot. I think one of my favorite, and this was actually pretty recent, one of my favorite is we had a girl who was participating in our teen troop, one of our teen troops, and before she had started with this particular group, hadn't really seen herself going to college, hadn't seen herself pursuing any kind of academic path outside of high school. She just wanted to get through high school. She was done, and she would be fine. And she stood up at a meeting and said that because of her participation within this organization, the people that she had met, the adults that had worked with her, that she wanted to go to college and she wanted to pursue, and she was already looking at, applications and the whole process. And I think, that's just, to me, that was one of those moments that was like, this is why we do what we do. This is why we work with our mentors. This is why we work, because she, through this participation, realized that she wanted to go to college and pursue a pretty intense career. I think she was looking at dentistry or something along those lines. So she went kind of the total opposite, and it was just an amazing moment. It was just that, you can do this, baby, and we're going to get there. So it was great.
Thank you. And that's the reward for the work. And
yep, it is. It's 13 years of working in this industry, but you have those moments that make it all worth it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fairly new to my position, so I've seen a couple of my guys who we're actually trying to, once you transition out of our program, that's kind of our success story, is that you've done what you needed to do to complete our program, which usually lasts around 6 months. So I have a couple of guys now, 2 of them who are about to complete, and the changes from just a month of me being here that I've seen them in terms of how they're interacting with themselves in their own life, the way that they were getting money before, and now we have ways to get them traditional work or supplemental work, so they get a consistent paycheck as long as they're doing their work and they fill out their forms on time. And so the way of understanding how that works and that mentality and that habit of getting money in that type of way, that's some of the things that I look at in terms of the change in mentality of understanding kind of what it takes to really successfully be in this society, in terms of how certain rules have been set up so that you don't get in trouble, so that you're not part of a system, so you're not a part of that. And just realizing that, you don't want anybody in your personal life in that way. When you're facing probation and when you're being locked up and things like that, you have people who you have to check in with. You have meetings that you have to go to. You have people asking about your family life and all that. You invited all that once you got caught doing something that you weren't supposed to do, or once you got charged with doing something that you weren't supposed to do. Some people don't. I mean, they actually get charged with something that they didn't do, but it doesn't matter because that's all about space and time and where you're at as well. So yeah, it's really about understanding that the mentality needs to change, and I love to see that in my young people when they come through and say, hey, this is pretty cool, like, or, man, I had to quit messing with such and such because they weren't on board, and they were going to get me in trouble. And now they're making these decisions that could deem them to get talked about or whatever. Somebody could feel some type of way about them outside on the streets, but they're making these decisions for themselves, and that's really adult, making those adult decisions. So when it comes to success with me, that's what I look at. Like I said, I don't look at the charges and making sure they don't do the charge again. I just want to make sure that they have enough going on in their life where they don't have time to do anything but what they're passionate about and what's going to contribute to society.
So really kind of creating positive pathways and positive patterns.
Oh yeah, have to.
Thank you. So I guess, we've shared a lot just kind of about, your roles within your organization as well as the, the benefits of mentorship. Is there anything that you want to make sure that our audience knows either about your organizations or about kind of becoming a mentor or being mentored themselves?
Probably, yes, there's a lot. My biggest thing, I think, is that you're never too old to learn and you're never too old to teach. You're never too young to learn and you're never too young to teach. And so for me, I think those things there's always an opportunity out there to share what you're passionate about. There's always an opportunity out there to impact someone's life. And there's always, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, our children have great resources and great ideas and great opinions to share with the world, and to give them that opportunity and that platform is profoundly important. And so to me, it would just be that this is great work. You don't necessarily always have to be the best with children. You can work with teenagers, you can work with younger kids, you can work with a lot of our youth that are transitioning out of foster care programs or transitioning out, and they're in that very vulnerable age group of that 17 to 21, and they need support and they need help. So I would just say to take those opportunities. We clearly would love to have you at Girl Scouts, and we are always in need of volunteers, and we definitely have areas where we need volunteers. I think more so, definitely within our public housing communities, we need volunteers. We need people who can help support both the parents who really want these opportunities for their girls, but maybe don't have the best pathway to get there, and within our bilingual communities, we need support. Within the women's prison, we're always looking for volunteer support to help with that troop. Some of our foster care troops, across our community, we need the support, and we'll absolutely take them. But if it's not us, I challenge people to find a place to fit to help the youth in our community, whether it's advocating for them, whether it's directly working with them, whether it's paying attention to the legislation that's impacting them and education that's impacting them, is to get involved with and support our youth.
Thank you.
Yeah, you would have to, I would first say go online, yapinc.org. That's our national website, and so it shows kind of where we're at all over the world. We are all over the world, our organization. We're in certain states here in the United States, and we're in 3 different countries, I believe, or outside of the United States. For Marion County, my email address, sjywanza@yapinc.org. Shoot me an email. You can come by our offices. We're in the same building as McCoy off of 16th and Harding, and check us out. Usually with us, all you need to do is be 21 with a valid driver's license. We want to make sure that you're able to get to the young people when they need. So that is one of the 2 of the requirements that we have. Fill out your application, and we'll do a background check, and if everything goes that way, we'll try to match you with one of our youth. So it's not like we're just going to put you with someone, but we're going to check out your passion, what you like to do, and then see, once we have a youth come that is referred to us, or we already have one that's there that could fit that mode, have those 2 meet up together. And so it's not like we're just kind of blindly picking. We're trying to really match these people together.
And Tiffany, did you want to share how someone would contact Girl Scouts or through the website? What
So
that
they
address
can, yeah,
is?
absolutely. They can go to our website, which is www.girlscoutsindiana, all spelled out in one word, .org. They can absolutely email me. It's T as in Tiffany, and then lemons, LEMONS, just like the fruit, at girlscoutsindiana.org, or the phone number. It's again on our website. We'll be happy to connect anybody with either if it's a regional area that they're a school district that they're interested in working with, a particular grade they're interested in working with, a particular troop they're interested in. We can help match that. And if they're, not necessarily, most of our volunteers are connected to a girl. Either it's their daughter, it's their niece, it's their granddaughter, they're usually connected, but if not, we're more than happy to sit down with them and figure out what their passion is and what troop would best meet that needs or best meet that interest. But those are probably the easiest ways to check out our website, and there's a join page there.
Well, thank you very much, Tiffany and Sabeko, for your time today. You've really provided a lot of helpful information around the topic of mentorship. I think it's something that we all think we know about, but sometimes, to have a little bit more information in detail, as well as to hear your passion, will hopefully kind of get some folks re-engaged in the community around supporting our youth. So thank you for watching today. This is Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and that's the end of our show. Thank you.